Welcome back to another episode of Evolving Through Experience, where we discussing growth in every aspect, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and beyond. Obviously, y'all know it's been about 2-3 weeks, I would say. First, I want to apologize to the community, to the supporters of Evolving Through Experience. Missed a few episodes since these last few Fridays, but nonetheless, I'm still evolving. Life just been lifing, but like I said, with that being said, that's a prime example to show y'all that I'm still evolving through my experiences as well. No matter what they are, big or small, no matter what spectrum you want to put those on personally, it's just a matter of still evolving. So today, y'all, we have another special guest. All my guests are special.
Sir.
We have my guy, Carson. How
Yes,
you
sir.
feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling good, bro. What about you?
Hey, I'm feeling good, feeling good. So, obviously, I want to just go ahead and start before I even go into your questions. Obviously, you're a prime example of evolving through experience, and I want the people to know that. I want the people to know your story because that's bigger than anything physical. That's a spiritual, that's mental, and those are the
Yeah.
things that people need to know. So, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go.
Most definitely. What's good, everybody? My name is Carson. A lot of people call me Scars. I'm a 19-year-old custom clothing brand owner, founder of Scars Make Stars, where we help people become stronger from their struggles. Initially started the brand back in March. Got laid off from my job on March 1st. Started my brand March 3rd. Had my first drop March 31st. And ever since then, it's just been ups and downs, leaps and valleys. But I found my purpose. I found my lane, which is now doing customs for people to tell people's story on how they became a star from their scars, and have people's stories be the foundation, because I've heard that your story is your glory, so I'm glad to be here.
Nah, facts, bro. I'm
Yes,
glad
sir.
to have you here. So with that being said, even before we get into the custom clothing, I want you to go ahead and tell your story. Obviously, we know you told me your story, but
Yeah.
I can't tell your story better than you. And when I heard it, I was just like shocked and blown away. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it was inspiring. I think that same feeling could be for other people that may have had the same situation you had, or even not, still just be inspired by it.
Yeah. So my story, it's pretty extreme. I actually could have died before turning 3. I was in a car accident at the age of 2. That's why I have the scar that I have right here on the side of my head, on my nose, on my arm, leg, chest, and shoulder, which you can't see because the drip is covering it. But at the same time, like, I like to show people really my scars on videos now, especially through being in the gym. Like, I like to show people transparently what I not had to go through but grow through. Being in 2 surgeries under the age of 8, like, not really accepting myself, not really understanding why I look different than other people, always having to answer questions about why I look a certain way, why I don't look like the masses, right? Like, why I have something that's permanent. You got things like acne, obesity, right? Like, you got certain things that can be removed just by products or doing something different. But for me, like, I couldn't remove the scars that I had, so I had to remove my stigma around them, right? I couldn't change my situation, but I could change how I viewed it. So ever since then, right, like, just ever since I probably say like high school, I had the vision of like having the scars be the foundation of who I am as a person. You know, Came up with the brand name Scars Make Stars probably about 4 years ago, after not really being accepted for my scars, people talking about them, people wanting to make slick jokes and things of that nature. So I wanted to turn something into a negative into a positive. 4 years later, started getting into fitness heavy, started getting around the right people that embrace me for showing my scars,
Right.
instead of shaming me for my scars. Ever since then, about February, I started making content about my brand, and then in March, I officially launched the brand. In August, we started doing custom, so that's probably like the full timeline.
Nah, for sure. We about to go even further into that, bro. And before I even get started, I just want to say shout out Rich and Fit. Obviously, I know that's where you be at. So shout out them. Before we even get to the gym part and everything working out, let's go back to, like you said, the story. So you said before 3, so it was like 2 or whatever. You got in a car accident.
Yeah.
It was with who? Obviously, I know you know now, but at the time you wasn't aware. So how did it happen? I know you told me a little bit.
Yeah. So man, it's crazy. Like, even though I'm glad that I have the opportunity to really share the specifics. So just from what I've been told, obviously I can't remember when it happened, but just from what I've been told, I actually believe it was an accident where I think I was maybe standing behind the car that my grandma was driving, and she didn't know I was behind the car. And because of how young I was, small I was, like, it's not like I could have ran out the way. Like, I didn't
aware.
know, wasn't aware at the time. So from what I've heard, like, that's what I believe happened. But truth be told, like, I'm just in my tonality, I'm not too. I don't sound certain just because
Yeah.
like I really haven't
Yeah.
asked. Like it's been something where I haven't been that like I haven't been that intentional about saying, hey, let me find out about the story.
Exactly, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, me knowing about the story, I felt like it's less important than me growing from the story. Right? Like, I might know about it, but like, a lot of people they might know about things, but how do you grow from things, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Growing is practical, knowing is internal. So I'd rather have things that practically can make me better in the world. And that's what I focused on, right? Like taking the situation to be like, all right, cool, instead of like worrying about the specifics of the story, why don't I just grow from the story, from what I know from the story. So
Okay, no, and I respect that. I'm glad you said that because I just wanted to know, and I'm sure somebody else wanted to. So with that being said, I want to ask you this then. So obviously you don't know the exact specs, you just know it's happening. You obviously are growing from it in a tremendous way, which is always a positive, and that's what we're here to talk about. So with that, did you ever at some point either or both blame yourself or blame your grandmother? Because that's a whole nother psychological standpoint too, is because at the end of the day, you're a child, so I don't know. I feel like what's this to say on that? Like,
nah, I never did, just because I never knew what really happened. I'm transparently, bro. I still don't really know like the full ins and outs of what happened. Like I might actually start to educate myself a little bit more now that like I tell my story a lot, just having more specifics to bring to the story that I do tell.
Yeah.
So nah, I never really knew what happened. Like I mean, in a sense, I feel like I kind of just felt like, it's kind of it felt almost like I was just born this way.
Yeah.
Right. That's I felt like that was the hardest part to accept. It wasn't like blaming a person, but it was like blaming my situation and not really like, accepting it because my whole life, the memory of everything was just me having scars.
Yeah.
So I just thought like this is just how I am.
How you are, yeah.
I just kind of like accepted that. It wasn't
Correct.
like I had envy or had anything. Like it was just like I never knew myself other than
that.
having scars.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's beautiful. I'm glad you said it. I think that's beautiful too, just so people could see that perspective. And with that being said, I'm glad that you even thought about now or willing to have that conversation. 'Cause I don't know if you agree, but I think that could somewhat be therapeutic. But at the same time, you are already evolving. You already, like you said, you're growing from it. I wonder at some point, or even if this is the case, like your grandmother blames herself for it.
Yeah, she does. So she's actually, God rest her soul, she's not living anymore.
Okay, my condolences.
But yeah, it was a lot of like self-blame and self-guilt. And honestly, just kind of to wrap that around into my situation, it was the self-guilt that my grandma had, and also my mom as well. Me growing into who I've become now, it's actually been hard for my mom to accept because of how traumatic the accident was. It's hard for her to see me like just fully accept my scars. Like she's obviously happy for me that like I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it's hard for her to see something that makes her remember the situation because
Every
she
day,
can remember, I don't. So for me, it doesn't mean anything. I don't remember not having scars. Only thing I remember is not accepting them.
Yeah.
So me accepting them in and of itself is what I can kind of stand on. But for her, she's seen literally me without it. Like she's seen the accident. She's seen me go to the hospital. She's seen my family members that crowded around me when I was in there. She's seen my surgeries, like the first one, the second one. Like she's seen all of that. So I feel like just having something that makes her remember it, it actually is hard for her to accept because, with me being her son, like a lot of times, like she might feel guilty for something that happened to me, even though it has no like, fault with her. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. It is.
That's powerful, bro. And it's a few things I even want to take out of that. I hope, obviously, condolences to your grandmother again.
Yeah.
I hope that before she left, she forgave herself and knew that you forgive her because obviously you evolved. Like you said, you never really had no self. You never blamed yourself. So I hope she was at a place where she could have gotten to that level of peace. And even if she hasn't, hopefully now you could let her know that, obviously spiritually or whatnot. And then even as a father hearing that, I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask, was it like with your mom and your dad or whatever? So even with that hearing now as a father, I could only imagine because my son go to the hospital for a sinus infection and I'm all scared and stuff. So I could honestly just only imagine, truth be told, how that makes her feel. And I hope at some point that she can get to a place where she's at peace and she doesn't have to have that guilty feeling all the time, every time she speak with you, or even as you're continuing to blow up with your brand, and then showing people like this is really what you are, like no filter, and just letting them know. So with that, what could you tell somebody else that's like that was a child at that age, or even a little older now, that's younger than you? How could they overcome that, from the sense of just letting them know? What could they say to their, you feel like they could say to their parents to give them some level of comfort?
What they can say to their like parents that
Yeah, their parents, or their parents, yeah.
yeah yeah. So the way I can kind of answer that question is like what I would have, if I known what I know now, how
Mhm.
would I have told my parents what I felt back
Yeah.
then.
Mhm.
Probably what I would have told them back then is I would have I would have maybe asked or told them like, man, that's a hard question.
Mhm.
Um, Probably just would have asked them like man, that's reason why it's so hard to answer is
Mhm.
because like as a kid, I feel like it's natural to not accept what makes you different. So
Mm.
like knowing that it's natural,
Mhm.
knowing that it's natural to not really accept your differences,
Mhm.
right? Like, it's hard to like communicate to a kid like, yo, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Yo,
Yeah.
nobody cares. Cause like they don't understand
Saying
that.
that, yeah, yeah.
But maybe what I would have done was like, like instead of saying how do I cope with my scars,
Mhm.
how do I look like how do I, you know, like how do I put myself in a position
Mhm.
where like my scars actually turn into a positive.
Mhm.
So I'll give you an example, right? I was reading this book. It's by Alex Hormozy, and he was saying
Mhm.
how people, let's say like you want to get from floor one of a high rise to like 419.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to be on the top floor. You see the view, you see the top floor pool,
Mhm.
right? And this analogy, I'm gonna get, you're gonna get where I'm coming from,
No, I got you. Go ahead.
right? So you go from floor one to 419, right? On
Mhm.
floor one, you probably like, dang, I can't wait to get to the top floor. I can't wait
Mhm.
to get to the top floor. In my situation, you know, you could say like, I can't wait for people to stop asking me about my scars. I can't
Mhm.
wait for people to stop asking me. I can't wait for people to, just I can't wait for this to go away, right? That's what people want. Like that's what you want. That's what you crave for. Like in that short term, like you want this, this instant type of gratification. But what I tell people is like, instead of seeking instant gratification, be comfortable with delayed gratification. So
Mhm.
think about elevators. What did the creator of elevators do to make delayed gratification enjoyable? They put mirrors in the elevator. They put certain silver lines around the elevator buttons to make it look
Mhm.
lavish, right? Because
Mhm.
silver is a color that represents, like it's like a very like what's the word that I'm looking for? It's a very royal color,
Mhm.
right? It defines like
Rewarding.
royalty,
Mhm.
right? That's what it gives off, right? Luxury, or
Mhm.
luxury, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't give them instant gratification. They made the delayed gratification enjoyable. So what I would say is ways that I've made, delayed gratification enjoyable is like I haven't asked myself how can I remove my scars. My mom, she for the longest time wanted me to get tattoos like on my scars. Like,
Mhm.
why don't you just get a tattoo? Why don't you just get a tattoo? It's only 3 hours. You will never see it. It's like, nah,
Mhm.
why would I do that? Why don't I just like, you know, mentally reframe the way that I see my scars, right? Instead of seeing it as I'm a victim, see it as
Mhm.
I'm a survivor,
Mhm.
right? So that's mentally reframing how I see my scars, and then physically reframing my appearance, right? Physically reframing could be through fitness, right? Getting stronger. Now, instead of me having a bird chest with a scar on my chest, I can have a swole chest. Now it's like,
Yeah.
dang, like instead of you looking, like a puny with a scar, you look
Mhm.
gangster because it's a scar that represents you surviving
Yeah.
something, right? It's like,
Yeah.
dang, bro, I know that dude, you
Yeah.
know, that dude hard. Like, that's what you
Mhm.
think, right?
Mhm.
Because you see me in the gym, right? Like my image starts to change through
Mhm.
physical reframing and mental reframing.
Mhm.
So what I would tell a kid is like, all right, cool. Like, don't try to take what makes you unique away. Just do the things that will make you feel comfortable in your uniqueness.
Mhm.
That's what I would tell them.
No, that was a beautiful analogy. I love how you broke it down, and then I definitely want to know the name of that book.
I think it's a $100
A
million
Million Leads.
offers.
Oh, $100
It's
million. Okay,
offers.
I know he got
Yes,
two.
it's
So yeah,
offers.
so yeah,
Yeah, I
I've
read
been
offers first. So yeah, it's
okay.
offers.
Bet yeah, I've been following Alex Harmozy now. Obviously, somebody else put me on to him, but definitely a lot of valuable
Yeah,
information.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
glad you said that. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, offers
Like you
is a
said,
good
that was a
one.
beautiful way you put it together.
Mm-hmm.
So now, with that being said, that's what you would tell a kid. I know you kind of touched on it, what you would tell a parent. Like you said, I know you said it was hard for you to probably like figure out how to tell them that, but
Mm-hmm.
you did cover it, so I'll just let it slide.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
without.
It's yeah. I don't know what I would tell my
Hmm.
parents. That's what I would tell a
Hmm.
kid to do. Like that's what I would tell them. Like
Hmm.
if it was action to take,
Yeah.
that's what I would tell them. To do in terms of
Hmm.
taking action. That's
Yeah.
because I feel like if you tell your parents something, a lot of times like it's as parents, like your natural
Hmm.
instinct is to present comfort to your
Hmm.
child and not
Yeah.
growth to your child.
Correct.
You want to make sure your kid is safe,
Hmm.
when really like the way that you grow the most is actually removing yourself from them safe environments and taking risks. Because the
Correct.
biggest risk in life is not taking one at all.
Hmm.
So what I would tell
Facts.
somebody is like, all right, like, if it's a kid, right, like I'm not saying have beef with your parents, but at
Hmm.
the same time, I would say like take it on yourself
Yeah.
to kind of
Yeah.
grow from the situation, because at the end of the day, like you gotta live your own life. Like your
Hmm.
parents, like for me, like
Facts.
when I had to go to basketball camp, my parents couldn't answer the questions for me on why I looked the way I look. I
Yeah.
had to, right? So because you gotta live your own life, you might as well be comfortable living your own life and do what I said. Like instead of trying to make yourself the same as everybody and
Hmm.
not be unique, just be comfortable with your
Yeah.
uniqueness. So
A-
that's
And that
yeah,
was actually the perfect answer, bro. I just want you to know, I don't think it was a wrong answer.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't speak for you, but
yeah,
the
yeah.
fact you said that, I think that will truly help a parent or even the child that's
Mm-hmm.
coming up that may be in the same situation or something similar. At least I think that'd be a beautiful thing because you actually talking from experience.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
actually relate.
yeah.
So I think that's beautiful. Let's talk about next year's support system around you during this time.
Facts.
So because obviously where you're at now mentally, you wasn't always there. Obviously, it's been a process, and I'm sure it's still an evolving process. So who was like some of your main supporters around you, obviously that never judged you, and just wanted you to feel comfortable without at the same time making you feel, what's the word, not like a victim, but you know how some, without like pity or whatever. So yeah, yeah, without pity, who was some of those people, and like how do you feel like people could find them?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like in I feel like in a sense, like for the most part, like parents is always gonna be your
Mm-hmm.
biggest supporters.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my situation, they knew that this was something that I had given to me that they had no control over and I
Mm-hmm.
had no control over.
Yeah.
So the only thing they could do is support. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um,
And shout out to your mommy and pops then. I just
yeah,
want to shout out them out too.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it was like, it was like some mental reframing that, my mom tried to give me like, hey, you're scarred. Like, and obviously I was a kid, so
Mhm.
I couldn't
Yeah.
like connect the dots on like, does this
At that
make
time.
sense?
Yeah.
But what she would say was like, your scars is what make you smart. Like, the reason why you're so smart is because you got these scars.
Mhm.
Cause I was like always honor student, A,
Mhm.
B, all A's. Like, so that's
Mhm.
one thing that, I always had going on for myself. And like, she tried to connect the dots of like, this is what makes you,
Mhm.
gifted at this, right?
Yeah.
So, that was something that she tried to do. You know, how people could find that support system. Um, man, like, so I would have to talk to really like two different crowds. Like, as a kid, it's hard, right? Because
Mhm.
like a lot of times as kids, like you're always focused on like, am I fitting in with this
Mhm.
person, or is this person fitting in with us,
Mhm.
right? So it's like a constant battle of judgment.
Mhm.
I would say just whether it's kids or adults or whatever, like just get around people that don't judge you for who you are on the outside but inside.
Mhm.
Sounds cliche,
No,
sounds
but it's
like run of the
facts.
mill. It's facts,
Mhm.
bro. Like if people judge you literally from like how you look on the outside,
Mhm.
it's probably not the person to be around, because we all
No,
look different on
facts.
the outside. We all
Yeah.
got different skin tones. We all got
Mhm.
different eyes. We all got different lips, noses, and
Yep.
ears. Like literally
Facts.
everybody looks different on the outside.
Mhm.
So how can you judge somebody for what makes everybody different, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like externally, we can't control how we look. It's just genetics.
Mhm.
Internally, we can because it's a choice.
Correct.
So
Facts.
don't judge people for their don't judge people for their appearance or genetics. Judge people for their choices.
Mhm.
That's what I'll tell somebody.
Nah, beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
And with that, I want to ask. I always ask every guest this. Obviously, your life is a prime example, so it's no wrong answer. What is evolving through experience in your own words?
Evolving through experience, in my own words.
Mhm.
Um, evolving through experience. Like evolving through experience is just I'd say like it represents really. I'd say like I can break it down in two words: attention and intention. So I feel like evolving through experience is paying attention to the things that matter most. So attention is like a micro term. Attention means like, all right, I'm paying attention, I'm focused, I'm doing what I have to do to like only like prioritize this one task, right? So it could be in like a unit of seconds, minutes, hours, or maybe even days. But I feel like intention is like a macro term, right? Like you talk about weeks, months, years, decades, centuries, things of that nature. So attention and intention, always paying attention to the things that you go through, right? Going through something is experience. So paying attention and having intention behind whatever you go through and just growing through that. So
Nah, bro, that was fire. Like, and
yeah.
every guest, I ask every guest that, and y'all all say it a different way, but I just love like every different analogy or however y'all express it because it's unique, but they all mean the same thing. That's why I say it's never a wrong answer. So I like one day I'm really gonna get a clip of every guest that ever answered that question and just chop it back to back because they all mean the same thing, but I think it will relate to different people different ways, bro. And even with that, talking about evolving through experience, I'm glad you're here because obviously, we had I ain't gonna go into the exact details just for the sake of the time, but at the same time, I'm glad we spoke. And we had like a miscommunication, and that's what actually led to even us we was already planning the podcast, but it was another example of evolving through experience. Like it was a miscommunication on. I'm just gonna say miscommunication in general, not like to point the finger at anybody, myself or whatever. But it was just a beautiful thing that we was able to have a conversation and a dialogue after the fact and just be able to grow from it. So I don't know if you want to go into detail about it, but it's not that serious. But I just want to say that was a great time of another example of evolving.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah. So, did you want to go and say anything about it?
No.
Okay, cool. So I wanted you to go ahead now into the brand. Obviously we know what it means now and why you started it, but I'm gonna let you go into it a little more now.
Yeah. So what exactly about the brand? Like how the start?
Yeah,
You
to
want me
start everything.
The start. Okay. So yeah, started the brand. I would say I've always had the vision of having something called Scars Make Stars. Well, I always it's been for some time though, for 4 years. Me having people talk about the way I look, right? Trying to make jokes, Rose Joan, whatever words you want to use. So I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna turn this into something big, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to do YouTube. I wanted to be a content creator. So that was my vision. So fast forward, probably maybe 4 years later to this year, and like I said, I started going to the gym that I go to now, Rich and Fit. Mind you, or not say, I won't say only reason, but main reason I ended up going to the gym is because of the network. I already was I already had certain things that I was participating in, high ticket sales. I tried drop shipping, I tried wholesaling real estate, sports betting, social media, all this different type of styles. So I was already getting in the room, going to events. That's how I met the trainers at an event.
Yeah.
Circle of CEOs. So that's how I got in the gym. But what I didn't notice was I would end up finding myself and discovering who I really was in the gym, right? They took something that was already in me, which was the ability to be comfortable and confident with my scars, and they just brought it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I tell it was already in me, but they they
brought it out. Yeah.
They brought it out. So after they really brought it out, started getting in the gym, started being around people that lifted me up, started posting more content about it, on social media, and went public. Just started sharing my story, and then like I said, it was about March 1st that I actually got laid off from my sales job that I had coming out of college, which was last year. I just left college about a little under a year ago.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had a closing role that I already secured, maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
And I actually lost the role. It was really good.
Crazy,
you know what I'm saying? Selling taxes, right? Base, knew the founder, it was really good. I actually I actually took it for granted. Knowing what I know now, I realized I took it for granted.
Yeah.
But just wasn't performing, to the part that my other coworker was. So he ended up making changes kind of just like that.
Quickly, yeah.
I already had 2 people lined up to take my spot, pretty much just last minute, literally no notice, just the first of the month. It was all right, you're out of here. So that was kind of tough, banking on a sales job, being yo, I can make this much money with this. it was like really hard for me to accept. And it was somebody that I trusted. Like I actually trusted him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Going on meetings with him every day. Being somebody that like I like conversation. Like I would tell him about ways to improve the company, ways that I wanted to contribute more. So that happened. You could say like for like metaphorically, it left me scarred, but
Yeah.
I kind of just birthed the brand Scars Make Stars from
Mhm.
that, right? Like I was like, all right, with my back up against the wall,
Mhm.
knew I needed to make money in some type of way. And I was already planning to get a new job. Like I knew my
Yeah.
network, I knew how I could get another
Correct.
job. It wasn't anything.
Mhm.
But I wanted to really like start something and grow something. Because at the end of the day, like I realized I had nothing but time when like
Mhm.
I ended up getting laid off. So I was like, all right, let me use this time to just start something that is perfect for me to start right
Mhm.
now. Like I had already been getting in I was already at Rich and Fit,
Mhm.
already started posting content about my journey, right? Back was literally against the wall, so I need some money to make anyway.
Mhm.
So with me being in that situation where, I was back up against the wall, but also, literally like growing into or evolving through my experiences at the same time, decided to like say, yo, let me go all in on this brand, right?
Nah,
Like I
facts.
said it to myself. I was like, bro, it's no better time to start this.
Facts.
Cause I had a vision already. Like 4 years
Mhm.
ago, I came up with the name. Like
Mhm.
I had to plan. I had like a plan for the
Mhm.
clothing brand written out already. Like
Yeah.
what I want the slogan to be.
Mhm.
I had some designs mocked up a little bit, but I would always start, stop, start, stop. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, I just need to start this joint.
Keep
And
going.
I started it, bro. Never look back. Like
Nah, facts.
yeah, never look back,
Nah,
bro. You
and
know what
that,
I'm
and
saying?
that's exactly why this aligns, bro. And I'm glad now we having even more conversation. We going into more detail. Obviously, we already knew it online, like me and your brand. But even with that, I'm glad you said it. Leaving that, you said two parts. You said you was honestly, you took it for granted, and
Yeah, I
I
did.
appreciate the transparency because I think everybody could be guilty of that at some point of certain things in their life, whether they want to admit it or not. So I appreciate that transparency. And obviously that has allowed you to grow. And like you said, mentally it left you scarred or whatever. But that again, that's just another part of your entire brand. It's not just the physical, but it's also showing those other parts. So that I'm glad you said that as well. I want to ask you, do you so you obviously plan on having children, obviously, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now we're gonna take it to another side just because I want people to think because now putting yourself in your parents' shoes, which you already have, how do you feel like explaining this to your child? Or let's just say somebody that is obviously not a parent yet, but let's say somebody that has the experience you had and them explaining this to their child. So what do you feel like you would say to yours, or what do you feel like they could say to theirs in that sense to pretty much help them to understand the situation?
Yeah. What type of situation? Like
Just
something
in the
like
sense of having scars or whatnot
oh
and
yeah.
being through a car accident, whatever it may be.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you know, I guess if I was a parent looking like yeah,
Mhm.
kind of what I alluded to before,
Mhm.
like not not trying to have this instant gratification where like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm different and now I
Mhm.
want to be indifferent, so to speak. But instead of trying to be indifferent, just be comfortable and confident within your
Mhm.
differences.
Mhm.
For me, getting in the gym, right?
Mhm.
Like improving my physical appearance,
Correct.
my perspective around my physical appearance and improving my network. Like it allowed me to be just comfortable and confident within
Correct.
my differences. So that's what I would tell like somebody that's like younger,
Okay,
especially like
bet.
my own kid.
No, facts, facts. And like I said, I don't think there's no wrong answer either with that. I want to ask you this. So outside of the gym, I know we spoke about the gym a few times now. Shout out to Rich and Fit again. What are some other outlets that you partake in to pretty much help you, whether that's therapy or whatever that
Oh
is?
yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. The gym definitely helped, especially with the network.
Mhm.
Um, bro, honestly, it's funny you say that. I'd say, bro, like creating content really, really helped
Mhm.
because like one thing that I never really accepted fully, especially like having the scars that I have, is
Mhm.
actually being photo and videogenic. I
Mm.
always used to like look to the other side, like
Yeah.
instead of like trying to show my scar, like I would try
Yeah.
to look to the right side instead of the
Yeah.
left side. Videos, like I would
Mhm.
always record videos. I wouldn't record photos
Mhm.
because like photos is kind of like similar to you know like the scars that I have. My scars is permanent. A
Mhm.
photo is permanent. You have a permanent frame that you see somebody with. So if you see me and it's just one permanent photo of like, okay, I'm looking at this person. He only has his scar in this place in this photo.
Mhm.
Like a video, you can change it around, you can move
Yeah.
it, right? You have temporary positions.
Mhm.
Photos put you in a permanent position,
Correct.
permanent frame. So I never really took photos like that. But doing social media, like, it really helped me because I was like, dang, like, if I'm gonna post as much as I know I need to post to grow to where I want to grow, which is like having like a, hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers. If I want to grow the brand that I want to have, which I've actually been posting content way before Scars Make Stars, the brand, clothing brand. If I want to grow my brand overall from like a content creation standpoint to the point that I know I want to, I'm gonna have to post as much as I need to. And if it's showing my scars, that's what's gonna happen. Because at the end of the day, I can't literally like every single video every day that I post. I can't I just got to get comfortable with people seeing it. So
embracing it.
It did help, like creating content, bro. Like, it really helped.
No, in fact, I'm glad you said that, and because I always say, and I know I said therapy, and I didn't want to be specific because I think therapy is a different. Gym is therapy, like you said, posting content is therapy. So I think anybody that's hearing this, they can take those different aspects and understand that therapy is in all these different aspects. But even with that, have you ever considered going to actual therapy, sitting down with a therapist, or have you done it or considered it?
In regards to like my scars, nah, just because like, how do I, that's interesting. Yeah, I never really considered it. I will say, like, I don't think it ever really like came to mind, right? Like, I feel like it's kind of like, I would say I was kind of like in the same boat as like somebody that, had something that they didn't really like about their appearance, right? Whether it's acne, obesity.
Yeah.
That was something that I kind of just like tried to, hide and like, but nah, not therapy. If I had to go back, would I have done it?
Don't know.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably would have done the same thing that I just did this year. Like just getting in the gym. Obviously the network that I have, like, it's a blessing. Like, you can't really can't replicate that, duplicate that. But I'd probably say just getting around like the right people. I feel like fitness is a way to do that because everybody's trying to improve their physical appearance.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's like whether you do have acne or obesity or anything, like I feel like fitness and being active is like a beautiful way to do that. Right. So
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like I said, it's no wrong answer to anything as you just said. So I'm glad you said that. I want to go ahead and get into the custom design you made too. We could pull that out. The one you made.
Yes,
we
sir.
can make that pull that out too.
Bro.
Nah, for sure.
Much you do the honors, my boy.
Nah, say less. Appreciate it.
Of course, bro.
Nah, facts.
Yes, sir.
4 years, right? You said 4 years. You've been. Well, how long you been doing it's 4 years since you started it, right? You said, right?
Nah,
as far as the customs.
No, bro. Like, I've been doing customs for like
a while.
3 months.
3 months. Okay, 3 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, well, when we made it online, dang, we should have opened this before, but we're gonna keep this in there.
Nah, you good?
We'll be opening packages. You know how it be.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Say less. No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
We can work out in these shirts.
Yeah. Most definitely, bro.
Oh yeah, that's fine. It looked better than in person than when I've seen it online. So it's like, you see stuff online, but then you get it and it's always better.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I love the quality too, bro.
Yes, sir.
Scars make stars. Y'all see that?
Yes, sir.
Make sure y'all see that. Make sure y'all see that. Yeah,
know,
bro. So now I appreciate it. I'm definitely gonna have to record some videos in there as well in the shirt. Any last things you want to say? I'm gonna before, and I'm gonna let you tell them your @ name as well.
Nah, man. I mean, I feel like Scars Make Stars, evolving through experience. It kind of just correlates back to the same thing. Just taking what you go through and really just growing through that. So
no, that's a fact.
That's what I would want to leave people with.
Hey, bro. Nonetheless, bro, I appreciate you again coming on. Again, I truly enjoyed the story, hearing it again, even in person, and I think a lot of other people is going to be able to gain from this. So if y'all enjoyed another episode of Evolving Through Experience, if you're not evolving, make sure you start today, because if you're not evolving, you're dissolving. But if y'all enjoyed another episode, make sure y'all follow us. Make sure y'all check us out. Share the brand, support the brand in any aspect that you can. It's all love. Evolving Through Experience. Peace.